Welcome back to Study Prep, guys. 2.2. So it's nice to be back with you. So hello, guys, everyone. Welcome again. So for today's video, we'll be working May June 2018, paper two, May June. So um, we'll be trying to work from question one to two today. We will not make this video extremely long. We'll try to make it very brief, very short. So without further ado, let's start the paper. So for here, it says for the first question, section A, answer all questions in this section. List four storage device an office may use to store information electronically. So when we think of electronic storage, we think of floppy disk. That's one. Hard drive. Cloud storage. Cloud storage is another means. So let me just put down these couple um, hard drive. Then we have floppy disk. Floppy disk, and then we have cloud storage. So hard drive, and then we have um, another thing that we usually miss up is in the internal storage. So hard drive, floppy disk, cloud storage, and we have internal storage. Um, there's a lot of other storage devices. There's a lot of different types of storage devices. Um, so with this, just a few: hard drive, floppy disk, cloud storage, and internal storage. So yes. Identify two functions of an organizational chart. Um, so an organizational chart basically shows us with true power of dynamics how a business is, what are the different levels of authority within a business. So one of its major importance, it illustrates the chain of command so that there is no misrepresentation of a person's authority. So first of all, it gives us a branch of authority, meaning it gives us a branch of authority figures within a business and their different authority levels. With that in mind, it allows us to have that constituent flexibility. Without a organizational chart, we will not understand that chain of command. And if we do not understand the chain of command within a business, that will lead to a lot of drastical issues. So, so the force function of an office, it helps us thus illustrates the chain of command in a business. So, as I said before, it helps us or it illustrates to us the chain of command within a business. Because how else will we understand um, the position you are in or the authority that it has over others without an organizational chart? So there are a lot of different types of organizational chart. So one organizational chart could be an objectifiable organizational chart, as I would like to say it. An objectifiable organizational chart shows us the steps that needs to be taken in order to achieve a particular objective. Or an organizational chart illustrates to us a chain of ideas and how they're intertwined. So there are three basic type of organizational chart. There is the organizational chart that illustrates the chain of command within a business, which is usually the context where we want to look at for office administration. So first of all, there is the chain of command as it relates back to persons and their positions in a business, right? The other type of organizational chart is within ideas. You might probably be reading a science book, and then, for example, let's use a basic term: photosynthesis. They may use a chart to illustrate the different terms in photosynthesis, and then from that chart you could see the bigger picture. You could see how all of these different terms, chlorophyll, the sun, and all of these other terms connect. You could connect the dots, right? So that is one. So it's number one, it's in a business. So it helps us illustrate the chain of command in the business. However, it also gives us an idea of the bigger picture. So let's put that right down right here. So so it number one, it helps us illustrate the chain of command in a business, and it gives us a general idea of the bigger picture. And just to be secure, in these instances where you're just given blatant points, you could elaborate a bit more, and then you could throw in a for instance or an example. So in the case of it helps illustrate the chain of command in a business between, for example, and you put for example between a manager and an employee, or it gives us an idea of the bigger picture, i.e., in a science textbook. And when you give that example now, the examiners will then say, okay, we understand where this guy is coming from. So that's question, that and that. So we only answered question 1A and B. We're trying to take this slow because if you look into the study prep that I react, I said before that I like to go through terms and find details, and I like to take my time a lot. Right? So I really want you guys out there to understand the concept as thoroughly and as fully as possible. So for question C, we'll answer right up to here. I will make more videos on this. Subscribe, hit the notification and the like button if you want to see more. So it says John has been working for 5 years with his supervisor, Miss Steffens, as her security secretary. John has told one of his colleagues that he does not like Miss Steffens and he is determined to make her look bad. So it says for CI, essentially, identify two benefits to be gained by John from improving his relationship with his supervisor. Um, this is very basic. What are some benefits that you have when having a good relationship with your supervisor? That's what you should be thinking. So when you have a good relationship with your supervisor, there's an increased chances or there's an increased chance in promotion. So there's an increased chance um so there's an increase in the chance of promotion because your supervisor is the one who will tell the boss how you are performing, right? And if they say that you're, and if you have a good relationship with them, they will say, "Yo, this guy here has a good attitude. He has a good work ethic. His personality is nice." And then your boss will then say to himself, "Yes, this person is a good person to work with." And when they think like that, they will want to put you up in higher positions to because of your good communication and your good interpersonal skills, right? So there's an increase in the chance of promotion. Less conflicts will arise. So less conflicts will arise in this case. Why, you might ask? Um, Something that you really need to know between you and a supervisor is that um, there is almost a hundred percent possibility of you getting into a conflict with with your supervisor. That is undeniable. You cannot really even escape this fundamental problem essentially. So when you have a good relationship with them, when you have a profound relationship with your managers, that allows you to have less conflicts. Regardless of how good you are, regardless of anything, you will always be in a conflict some end of the day with your supervisor. Regardless of how good you are, regardless of how good your work ethic is. No one is perfect. And the supervisor is there to make sure that you're doing your work to the highest standard possible. And you cannot even You cannot perform your duties to a certain extent. You cannot be perfect in everything, and your supervisor will tell you, yes, you need to do it this way, and you will have, you have a little conflict. And when you are a good communicator, when you have a good relationship with them, there will be less conflict. Not that there will permanently not be conflict, it's just that there will be less conflict. So that's everything for this video. Be looking to the other questions later. This is my fourth video on this, the study prep guide 2.0. So we'll take it as that right here.